NieR Automata launched for PS4 and then PC last year, and Xbox fans wanting to get in on Platinum's newest and potentially greatest game had to wait until now to play NieR Automata Become as Gods Edition. But the wait seemingly was worth it, as you get all DLC included, as well as Xbox One X enhancements for those that own Xbox One. And for someone who played NieR Automata last year, returning to it only solidified my thoughts of that NieR Automata is not only potentially Platinum's best game, but it is one of the best games I've ever played. In NieR Automata you play Android 2B and you have your Psychic 9S who return to an abandoned Earth where all humans have decided to flee to the moon due to an alien invasion, and you as androids go down and sort of help bring or restore Earth to its glory. And in there is a massive open world with tons of side quests to do, and those expecting just a crazy linear action set piece game will be in for a very pleasant surprise, because while it does have that with incredible set pieces, it also mixes genres up. So randomly you'll be running around in a 3D space and all of a sudden you will turn the corner and it will become 2D, or it'll become like a top-down shooter. And these sort of set pieces keep the action really interesting and take some really unique moments, especially during boss battles. You will go from the hack and slash moment to a twin stick bullet hell shooter, and things mix up so well and so quickly, and the transition in the camera is really impressively done. I never once felt disorientated by this switch of perspectives. In NieR Automata you have a lot of weapons at your disposal as well as skills, and those, if you think of something like an RPG, you pretty much get an RPG within this game. It's a substantially sized game as well, clocking in at around 30 hours for the first playthrough. There are multiple playthroughs that sort of expand upon the story and goes to places that no game probably ever has, and I don't mean that in a hyperbolic sense. I literally mean that this, narratively speaking and understanding what's possible within the realms of video game, kind of hits its new heights with NieR Automata. So just for that alone, I think NieR Automata is a game that every person who plays games should play. But beyond that, there's so much more reason to play this game. The combat is incredibly smooth and impressive. It allows you to pick two weapons, a light attack and a heavy attack. You go around the world and you find new weapons along the way. But on top of that, then the locations you visit is a destroyed Earth. You have city ruins, you have factories, you have desert, you have this stunning looking amusement park where kind of the moment hit me when it really makes you realize just how beautiful NieR Automata is, because maybe on first glance it doesn't exactly look that way. There's a lot of lower res textures, and something I'll talk about in a second is the Xbox One X enhancements and maybe some of the shortcomings here. But there are some beautiful locations, and sometimes the set pieces makes those locations look even better. And in terms of scale, it goes, and some of the enemies you face is way beyond anything even Shadow of the Colossus has thrown at you in the past. There is just incredible sense of scale and size to this game. But as I mentioned just there a second ago, the Xbox One X enhancements give you mostly, it says 4K, but it seems like sometimes it may be a little bit less than that. In terms of frame rates, it does sometimes hitch it a little bit, which is a little bit noticeable. But the biggest thing that was noticeable to me is when the textures load in. It's kind of unusual how like close in front of you certain textures pop in. You'll get that maybe mostly in the city ruins. You'll see off in the distance they're pretty low text, they're pretty low resolution, which is kind of understandable for an open world game. A lot of games use this technique, but what's kind of surprising is certain buildings, the textures don't pop in until you're very very close to it. Like I mean maybe 30-40 feet or maybe a little bit further. But it's very noticeable and it's quite off-putting. But honestly, that's kind of the only major issue I had with the game. And that's something that I kind of forgot about over time. You'll revisit the same locations. The enemies do mix up quite a bit actually. As the game goes on, as you level up, you will face tougher enemies, and sort of it means returning to the same areas, even if it may get a little dull for you. There's new challenges within there. And one of the most fascinating and sort of enjoyable parts of the game that I wasn't expecting is the skill system. You pick up chips as you go along, and you can then sort of fit these chips into your skill set, and you can mix things up. And the game actually offers sort of ways to sort of focus on attack or defense or balance things. But this also helps people who may be having a hard time in the game. If you're playing on easy difficulty, you can install chips that will auto attack and auto heal, so it helps you sort of just experience the game and the world. And I do think, like I said already, this game needs to be experienced by pretty much anyone that plays games. It may not look like your thing on the surface, but the themes that are brought up, the gameplay itself, and just I can't. It's kind of tough to even comprehend what the game is without sort of spoiling anything. Just know that it's about androids. There's so many really smart ways to talk about one's humanity and what makes people human and not anything else, in terms of a heartbeat, in terms of thought, in terms of emotions. It does ask a lot of questions in that regard that when I initially played I wasn't expecting. Even playing through the second way around, or more actually at this stage, I still kind of like really appreciate and get that little smile and nod at what the game is presenting before you. It does so many incredibly smart things with video games in general as a medium, as a source of entertainment. It just takes things to a whole new level, and on top of that, then it's platinum at its best with incredibly fast, fluid gameplay that is just never tires to. Well, it never tired to me. I just wanted to keep playing it non-stop. It's just something really, really special, and it stays with me. Like, the story of this game stayed with me all through 2017. Now playing it again in 2018, it's staying in my head after I turn off the Xbox One X, and I do think anyone who plays the game will not be disappointed. Oh, and the soundtrack even beats the first game, which is highly regarded as one of the best JRPG soundtracks ever made. NieR Automata is even better. It's just go play the game.